Assalamu alaikum. I am Shujat Ali from Medico's Lectures by Shujat, and today we are going to discuss with you the osteology and the anatomy of humerus. First of all, we have 5 main points to discuss with you. First is what actually humerus is. Second is its proximal extremity. Third is its body or shaft, and fourth is its distal extremity. And at the 5th point, we are going to discuss with you the clinical correlations. So first of all, we are going to discuss with you that how can we determine that this humerus is our right side humerus or this humerus is our left side humerus. For that purpose, we have to take the humerus at our anatomical position in such a way, like this. If head is going to face medially and the radial fossa and the coronoid fossa, they are anteriorly. So we can say that this humerus is our right humerus. Now discussing with you the second point, the proximal extremity of humerus. This rounded globular area is head of humerus, and this head is going to articulate with glenoid cavity of scapula and form a glenohumeral joint. And this glenoid cavity is shallower and smaller, and this allows a free movement to the glenohumeral joint, to our arm. Now, we have a lesser tubercle and a greater tubercle of humerus. In between lesser and greater, we have intertubercular sulcus. Now, talking about lesser tubercle and greater tubercle. Greater tubercle hosts the insertion of muscle subclavius, and intertubercle sulcus, it gives rise to the ligament named transverse ligament. And posterior side of greater tubercle have 3 muscles: teres minor, supraspinatus and infraspinatus muscle. And the 4 muscles, teres minor, supraspinatus, infraspinatus and subclavius, they combine and form rotator cuff muscles. And rotator cuff is basically for the elevation and free movement. Now we are going to discuss with you the necks of humerus. We have 3 necks: anatomical neck, surgical neck and morphological neck. Now if my friend zoom, we have right around this head portion, we have anatomical neck. And surgical neck is basically behind the greater and lesser tubercle, and this portion. This portion is surgical neck. And another neck is morphological neck. Morphological neck is basically appear in young age, and in adulthood it disappears. It is basically a cartilaginous neck around that portion of anatomical neck. Now we are going to discuss with you the body or shaft of humerus, as it's the longest bone in our upper limb, in our this upper area. So we have 3 borders and 3 surfaces of humerus. We have anterior surface, we have a lateral surface, and we have a medial surface of humerus. Anterior surface is basically, we can identify it from the lesser tubercle and greater tubercle. Just from the intertubercular sulcus, we identify the anterior surface of our humerus. Here we have a glenoid cavity where the glenoid muscles are going to be attached. And medial surface is going to be identified from the lower portion of our shaft or body. Medial surface is going to be identified from the medial epicondyle portion. Here we have a medial surface of humerus. And lateral surface is going to be identified from the lateral epicondyle surface. That surface is lateral surface of our body. Now we have 3 borders as well. So anteromedial, anterolateral and posterior. Talking about anteromedial, we have from lesser tubercle and greater tubercle. Here we have intertubercular surface, and we have 2 lips, medial lip and lateral lip. From the medial lip, we identify teres major muscle is present at the medial lip point. From the lateral lip, we have pectoralis major muscle origination. On the medial border, we have pronator teres muscle, and on the lateral, we have profunda brachiae. Now, talking about the distal portion, this portion of humerus. So we have a radial fossa and acronoid fossa, and behind that portion we have an olecranon process or olecranon fossa. And this is our medial and lateral epicondyles of humerus. And capitulum and proclea is also present in case of humerus. So, discussing the relationship of radius and ulna with humerus. So, when we abduct and extend our arm, we see that this is radius of our humerus. So, this radius is articulate with radial fossa, and from behind it will articulate with olecranon process. And this is ulna. This is going to be articulate with cronoid fossa in abduction and adduction, just like this position of our hand. Now, we are going to discuss with you that what are the clinical correlates we have. So we have three main clinical correlates. First is the head portion in our humerus have major chance of injury. Just like that, we have a Volkmann ischemic disorder where medial nerve is going to be obstructed. And anterior inferior surface of our head has major chances of injury in case of humerus. And this is our basic lecture on humerus. Hope you all will understand it well. Don't forget to subscribe to Medicos Lectures by Shujat. Thank you so much.